So we are in the small city level again, and in here we are going to add some final things for the racetrack and checkpoints and stuff like that. And in this video we're going to go over how to create kind of a visual thing for the time that shows for each lap how long it took you. And then we're also going to just create a base blueprint for our checkpoints. So let's first create our user widget. And let's name it lap time. And let's open it up. And in this widget we'll just add text. But first off, actually we are going to need canvas. And then text, and let's then just set the text to 00. Something like this, so it is going to be our time span. And then what we're going to do is just click size to content. So this is kind of a thing that will be shown in our main widget where we have the speedometer. So now that we have this, let's go to our is variable and let's name it lap time text. And let's go to graph. And in here, let's create a new function. And let's name it update lap time. And in here, we're going to need an input variable, and this variable will basically be something that we're going to use to save the time span, basically. So if you type time in here, we can see different types of times. So we have date time, time code, time span, and for this we are going to use the date time, and let's name it lap time. And now that we have this, we are going to first type as time, and this is basically to convert it to just text of the time. And now we need to set text for our lap time. So this is going to be the function that we basically just call to update our text. And actually we don't need this, but we need to get lap time text and then set text. And here we're going to connect it. And now let's do format text. And we are going to separate this as function, so we don't have to kind of convert it to a string and append. So let's type lap and then add write this, click enter, and then we have this time function that we can just update here. So this is kind of it for the update for this widget. Now we need our speedometer, and here we can type lap time, and then we can add this lap time to our widget. And let's see, this is our canvas panel here, so we need this to be separate. And let's also set this size to content, and we can put it in here. Now it seems a bit small, so let's also maybe move this to -20. And then put this to 20. And we can also set the anchor to the lower part and then put this to, actually we first need this to 1. And then we can do this -20. So we can kind of line it up, but I don't think I like the size of the lap time. So let's go to design and find the size and set it to maybe 48. And now we should see this one updated. Try this. Does not seem to update. Let's push this to maybe 96. Still not updating. Maybe we can delete it and put it again. Okay, now it's updating. Okay, so we're gonna have to do that. Let's put it to 48 again. I think that's the nice size. and put the lap time in here. Let's set it to size to content, anchor it to the bottom, set this to 1, and then do -20. And we need 20 here to kind of make it line up. Now that we have that, let's create our checkpoint. So let's do blueprint class and actor and name it BP checkpoints. Or we can just do BP checkpoint. And in here, we are going to need few things. One thing will be our box collision. And this needs to have a scale. And let's set the scale to maybe 30, but we want it maybe like 5 and 5. Let's see, something like this, but let's increase the scale from here. And this one, let's do maybe 30-30, and then this one maybe 2. Something like this. So we want it kind of thin from the sides, but then like a big square, so we have a lot of space to hit it with the car. And then we can also add some visual thing in here, which is, let's type static mesh, and let's try to search for cylinder. Let's see which one we want. Basic shape. Let's do this one. Now that we have this, let's scale it up. Something like this, and then we can scale it to the side. Now this is not accurately scaling to the side, so let's see it. So let's type 1 in here. So this is this scale, so 0.5 then. Okay, so I noticed the scale is not right, and that was because our static mesh is not in the default scene root. So let's attach it here, and now we can see our scale looks better. So let's scale it like this, and then maybe put it to, let's say, 23. And let's put this to 5. Something like this, so we can kind of have a big sphere to collide with. Now we need material for this, so let's create a new material. Let's click right click in here and click material. And I'm gonna name it like this because we're going to use, or actually let's name it as a checkpoint. So for the checkpoint material, let's first convert it from the opaque to translucent and then to unlit, so we only have emissive and opacity. And let's first do constant 3 vector, and we can put it some bluish color, something like this. And then we can just multiply it by maybe 4 or something to kind of give it a glow effect. And now let's type depth fade, and this will be important for our object, how far it kind of disappear into after the player changes distance, basically. So what we need here is distance blend, and we can set it into opacity. And now we can create a constant. This will be for fade offset, so let's go to the parameter. And let's set it to maybe -2000. And then we need another constant that is called fade range. And this needs to be maybe 200 and connected in here. Now let's see if this kind of works. So if we kind of try to zoom out and then zoom in, we can see how the object kind of disappears. And this is kind of the effect that we want. So when you come close to the checkpoint, it kind of starts disappearing. So let's try to test this out. Let's put a checkpoint in here, or actually we first need to set the material. So this will be called checkpoint. And you can already see the effect. So now let's put the checkpoint in the scene. Something like that. Now it seems like it's not glowing that much. Let's see if we can change that. Let's multiply by maybe 20. This might be my quality settings, so let's try to increase them. This seems to make it better, but our FPS drops, so I'm just gonna put it to medium again. Yeah, medium is more performant, but yeah, if you have any problems with this, maybe bloom is not activated, something like that. But for now, we're gonna try it. And if you come close to the checkpoint, it disappears. But we notice that we hit the checkpoint. And the important thing there is that our cylinder had collision on it, so we need to set it to no collision. And that is also no, and we don't need to generate any events. So we can disable all that. Now let's click play again. And now we can see it disappears, and of course we're gonna create all the necessary behaviors for what happens when we hit the checkpoint.